Animal secrets zoos don't want you to know. Little mini noggin lore. When I was a little guy, I wanted to be a zookeeper. So I guess let's find out what secrets I would have been keeping from the children. Also, I should probably put on my animal ears for this one. Not a furry, by the way.
Animal facts that zookeepers might not want to tell you. Zebras are one of the most responsible for injuries to zookeepers because they're wildly unpredictable and overall assholes.
Dude, I've never seen violent zebras before.
Life can really go from 0 to kicked in the chest if you're around one. And the hand-reared ones are the worst because people think they're wild horses when really they're demon donkeys that'll crack your ribs and bite off your hand unprovoked. In a place with lions, bears, and gators, your biggest op could be a pissed-off Oreo horse. If you work with foxes, your social life will suffer.
How fast are zebras? Well, a human's definitely outrunning them. Damn, you know what? I think I'd rather 1v1 an alligator than a zebra then. Implying 1v1 as in I can run away. If it's a fist fight, I'm just cooked either way. But I'd take the zebra if it's a fist fight.
Not only do they smell horrible, but the smell of fox pee sticks to hair, clothes, and skin and lasts weeks, no matter how hard or long you scrub. Getting R. Kelly by a fox is a great way to make people avoid you like the real one. Rhinos are the world's biggest and most dangerous puppies. White
Are they
rhinos
nice?
will eat out of your hand and they love being scratched.
No way.
5,000-pound armored truck with legs, they have the personality of a Labrador.
Dude.
With ducks, you never...
That's goated. Okay, hold on. Rhinos move up in like the Legacy Olympics. I didn't know rhinos were that cool.
Want to have more males than females. As a rule, you need 4 to 6
You know
males.
what sucks now that I think about it? Rhinos look like they're... Oh, I'm actually sad now because people hunt rhinos and they're just happy big guys. They're innocent big guys, but they jump them for their horn. So sad. But what I was going to say is rhinos look beastly. They look evil. They look like they're going to kill you. They look like this at all times. But they're not like that, dude. You know who's like this? Hippos. And hippos are the ones who look so nice and ooh and cute. But no, bro, they're going to murder you. Shout out Moodang. Little guy hippo.
Males for every female, because if you don't, the males will get aggressive and jump the female. I couldn't find the TikTok, but basically she was saying a female duck lost her eye because during a particularly violent session, one of the males got impatient and ripped her eyeball out. And since it usually happens in water, multiple males could possibly drown the female.
This is why I can't actually be a zookeeper or a veterinarian. I'm way too soft. I don't want to see like sick or dying animals.
Break her
sick or dying humans? I'm chilling, no problem. An animal though, I can't, bro.
Animal secrets zookeepers might not want to tell you, part 2. Anteaters are way meaner than they get credit for, and sometimes they'll just snap and take a life for no reason.
This guy? This dude's a meanie? He's so cute though. He's so demure with his elongated nose.
Like even jaguars would hesitate to attack them because they're really only one swing away from being a member.
That's crazy. Do you guys remember when Arthur looked like a proper anteater? And then they had to like give him a nose job to fit in, be more conventionally attractive? You hate to see it.
Anteater mauled a zookeeper so badly that she had severe liver, stomach, and lung damage.
Damn.
And she died. You watch your back if you're in his hood. Tortoises are jaw-droppingly stupid. If you leave a bucket around them, they will 100% try to make babies with it, and they'll even give the...
What's the average age of a tortoise? Or how long do they live? Are tortoises the one that can live forever? Or is it just a giant sea turtle?
Treatment to an extra curvy boulder. Orangutans are evil pickpocketing geniuses that'll steal
They can? Damn, they're idiots and they live that long just because they have their giant shell. They're just too tanky to die.
And they'll even give the treatment to an extra curvy boulder. Orangutans are evil pickpocketing geniuses that'll steal items of importance and only return them in exchange for food.
Honestly, dude, this is kind of based. Shout out orangutans. I've seen other monkeys steal a bunch of stuff. They're usually not this big though. If this guy steals my stuff, I'm gonna be shook. But at least he understands the art of the deal. You know, handshake. I take your thing. If you want it back, you must give me something better. It's fair. I respect it.
Sometimes they'll even break up the object and hand it back piece by piece in order to extort more food. Which is unfortunate if they steal your phone, and even worse if they steal an animal like an opossum. It's happened. This isn't
that got like way darker. At first it was funny, but now I had to picture him cracking a possum in half. Anyway, moving on.
If you've ever seen a zookeeper cleaning an enclosure and you jokingly said something like, "I wonder what animal that is," I can guarantee you that day you got silently cursed out in ways you didn't even know possible. Giraffes can seriously mess you up out of nowhere. Males fight for females by necking.
Dude, yeah. Have you ever seen a giraffe fight? It's insane. Just straight up like swinging their necks at each other.
Exactly what it sounds like. Sometimes they'll take a swing
right
at
here.
keepers
Look
not
at
paying
this.
attention just to be a dick, and if they connect, they will send you flying. The one day they're not nice is the day someone gets put on CNN. Animal facts zookeepers might not want to tell you, part 3.
Hey, Mall Cop, Paul Blart, also King of Queens guy. Forget his real name, Kevin James. There we go.
Are teddy bears with the personality of a chainsaw, and if you have to carry an animal out of its enclosure, you'd have an easier time manhandling a crocodile.
And they give you herpes, right?
They claw, they bite, and they are dicks to other animals. Every time a keeper picks one up, their health insurance goes up. Aquariums will have captive breeding programs for dolphins, but since they're different,
get this dolphin out of here, bro.
Artificial
Dolphins.
insemination. meaning someone gets paid to give Flipper a happy ending and collect the baby maker, and the dolphins are so smart they'll recognize whose job it is, and when they see them they'll roll over and present themselves. If you irritate a member of the Camelidae family like llamas, alpacas, vicuñas, and of course camels, they don't just spit on you. Zookeepers just say so you don't totally freak out.
What do they do?
What they actually do is regurgitate the contents of their stomach, mix it with saliva, and launch it in the face of whoever's annoying them. Piss one off and they'll basically projectile vomit half-eaten grass all over you and dare you to do something about it.
Mini Noggin lore? My mom, I think it was my mom and my sister. They once adopted a llama for me. I used to love llamas as a little guy. I have a stuffed llama from FAO Schwartz back in the day. If you know, you know. Shout out my mom, shout out my sister, shout out llamas. I still love them.
Out of all the raptors, turkey vultures are one of the most affectionate, and they'll form strong emotional bonds with their keepers. They'll follow their favorite around, greet them when they enter the enclosure, and even play with their socks
Birds
and
are
shoes.
so cool,
if
dude.
you ignore the fact that they smell like an open casket in July, they're
I'll
actually
ignore
pretty
it
cool. Animal fact, zookeepers
for a little bit.
might not want to tell you. Meerkats are the spawn of Satan, and they conduct themselves as such. If you know anyone who's ever worked with meerkats, ask them to show you the scars. I guarantee you they have. They are, no exaggeration, the most homicidal mammals on the planet.
Bro, Timon could have jumped those hyenas in The Lion King. Did any of you guys ever watch Meerkat Manor? Do you remember that show? I watched it like sparingly when it came on, like on Nat Geo, I think. It was so weird. Like I couldn't tell if it was like supposed to be like a proper nature documentary or what was going down, but shout out Meerkat Manor.
That aren't humans. If a zoo announces the death of one of their meerkats and they say it was due to natural causes, it's way more likely that one just straight up murdered another. They're also one of the worst animals for first-time zookeepers.
Dude, look at how he's actually on demon time. Damn, look at this dude.
Nobody warns them, they'll think they're cute and cuddly and try to feed them by hand. And that is exactly how you go to bed with less fingers than you woke up with. Most keepers understand their animals so well that they have no problem being in the same enclosure as tigers, leopards, and bears. But there's one animal that seems to universally scare everyone. Ironically, cassowaries are shy and introverted in nature, but during breeding season, sometimes these hell turkeys decide to catch a body. They are one of the most dangerously unpredictable animals you'll ever be around. Most zoos won't even let workers inside cassowary exhibits without—
Look at the feet, bro. Not beating the allegations, but like look at the feet. That's crazy. I was wondering if this was the bird that has like the insane claw and insane kick power. I don't think it is though.
At least two others keeping watch, and they often go in with an attack shield in case this Satan
maybe
gets ideas. Orangutans are smart enough to get people fired. In Omaha Zoo in Nebraska, zookeepers kept forgetting to lock the orangutan exhibit, and when they would get there in the morning, 5 males would be posted outside. The head keeper got on his staff for being careless, but after this happened several more times, he was ready to put someone on unemployment. But it turned out one of the males named Fu Manchu found a piece of wire and hid it between his lips and gums. Dude. When nobody was looking, he used it to pick the lock of his enclosure, and then he proceeded to free all of his friends. It took zookeepers—
Peak. Shout out Fu Manchu. What a legend. That's crazy. Hiding the wire in his gums? Bro. Bro probably could have just held it in his hand, honestly. He was going the extra step, though.
The threat of being fired to figure it out. Cougars are the biggest pushover of any cat. They're naturally afraid of people, but when comfortable, they'll seek out head scratches and belly rubs, all while purring. They're basically giant house cats that could turn you into a headline if they wanted to. Secrets zoos might not want you to know. Every zoo has a group of animals that are so dangerous they're kill on sight, meaning if they escape their enclosure or attack somebody, zookeepers are taught to take them out immediately. And surprisingly, a lot of big cats like lions and tigers aren't KOS because they would rather tranquilize and capture them. Even silverbacks are tranquilized first, but there's one animal that's kill on sight in basically every zoo.
A hippo, right?
Chimpanzees, because not only are they homicidal maniacs,
they're fast, strong, makes sense.
Tranquilizers only piss them off. By the time it kicks in, they could have already chewed someone's face off. If one escapes, somebody has to die, and it's usually the chimp. Sloths can be incredibly vicious. They look innocent, but those jaws can inflict nasty injuries on animals and people. Tamarin was once harassing a 3-toed sloth, which everyone thought was cute, until the sloth clamped its jaws around the monkey's face. By the time keepers broke it up, the monkey had an eyeball hanging out of its socket, and the sloth was covered in blood that wasn't his. Tortoises are dicks for no reason. Sometimes—
Dude, I'm sure all of us have seen the videos of people like picking up sloths that are in the middle of the street and transporting them to a tree. I legit didn't think they were vicious, like in any way. Like I knew they had their claws, I knew they could bite, but I figured even their jaw moved slow. Damn, rip to that monkey, bro. Feels bad.
Go in their enclosure, they'll block off the exit by sitting in front of it. And since the Aldabra tortoise can be 500 pounds,
they were on Snorlax time, just plopping down like, nope, you shall not pass.
Stubborn, you're not going anywhere. A lot of zoos have to rent pandas for $1 million a year, and it takes another $500,000 to feed them, which doesn't even include medical and enrichment costs. It can literally single-handedly bankrupt zoos. Might not want to tell you. Part 6. A lot of animals in captivity become much worse parents because honestly, zoo animals are just worse at being animals. In the wild, a mother may reject her baby due to drought or sickness. Zoo animals can reject them purely off vibes. Zoo animals also respond way worse to stress, and when a military jet flew over a Sweden zoo, the animals got so stressed and so pressed they proceeded to tear apart and eat 23 of their babies. It was not pretty. Zoos don't—
What animal are they talking about? Just in general? Damn.
stressed and so pressed, they proceeded to tear apart and eat 23 of their babies. It was not pretty. Zoos don't buy or sell animals from each other. Instead, they trade like cards.
No way.
For example, if you think you would like this bighorn puppy, it'd probably cost you about 20 penguins. 2 lion cubs could set you back 1 grand zebra. And if
I
you have
would trade 20 penguins for a rhino. That's light work, bro. Everyone's seen a penguin. No one's seen a rhino.
more baby giraffes than you can handle, you could trade him in for a Burmese python, a red-tailed hawk, and a miniature pig. Most zoos are strongly against putting price tags on animals because it can encourage poaching. Except these guys. These
Wait,
bastards
what?
Most zoos are strongly against putting price tags on animals because it can encourage poaching.
Oh, that's why they do the trading. Okay.
Except these guys.
Instead
These
of like rather paying a certain amount of dollars. Except for pandas, apparently. They're 1 million to rent. We got a price tag on these guys.
are too expensive to trade. Animal escapes are pretty rare, but when a major one happens, everyone basically readjusts their fences and enclosures. Kind of like how in class everybody will change their answers if one kid gets it wrong. A lot of zoos had to readjust their tiger enclosures because 3 idiots decided to taunt one and that tiger proceeded to yeet itself over a wall. Can't blame the tiger though, sometimes natural selection comes with a free meal. Things zookeepers might not want to tell you. You probably shouldn't work with your favorite animal for the same reason you shouldn't share an apartment with your
Imagine leaving your kid at the hospital because he didn't pass the vibe check. Macon. I think that happens sometimes, dude.
best friend. After 1 week, it'll change everything you thought you knew about them. You like penguins? They smell like Satan's locker and snap and bite at your shins every time you feed them.
Oh, dude, I know about penguins. Penguins are crazy. You ever seen like an actual, this is going to sound weird, but you ever seen a close-up of a penguin's mouth, bro? It's disturbing.
Tiger poop is one of the worst smelling things you'll ever live
I mean,
through.
I'd
Like
imagine.
elephants, give one an enema and I swear next day
Oh,
you'll be
God. I've seen this. That's so bad.
Being a zookeeper isn't just playing with animals all day. It's incredibly difficult and ridiculously demanding. They work well over 40 hours a week and often have to sleep at zoos just so they
And
can
I don't think they get paid necessarily well.
respond to any emergencies. You go through years of training,
Yeah, see?
applications, and hours of interning, all for a starting salary of about less than $30,000. And when you take that much for that little, you're a different breed. But they're so dedicated to the animals
Love
that it's
the
worth it. But if you
animals.
personally know a zookeeper, tell them you appreciate them. Lord knows they don't hear it enough. Out of all the animals, the most dangerous and the ones zookeepers hate working with the most are the ones outside the cage. No other animal causes more migraines
So
or higher
real.
blood pressure than a hairless primate armed with an iPhone and a sense of entitlement. Most zookeepers agree if you kept the animals and banned the people, zoos would be 10 times more fun, and I don't blame them for thinking that. Animal facts you definitely wouldn't know unless you worked at a zoo. Walruses are really talented at baiting. In fact, you could say they're master baits. They do it a lot. You're probably wondering how a walrus does this. Well, there's 2 options. 1, they slap themselves with their flippers, or 2, they're flexible enough to self-service themselves with their mouth.
These
Seen a
tubby dudes are
Of course,
flexible.
you've probably seen one do this. Bonobos will go out of their way to wait until they have a crowd of people around them and then start spontaneously having in front of the audience. They do it on purpose. I don't know why, but literally the more
lads.
people around, the more
Alright,
likely
I
they are
guess.
to ruin the innocence of any child watching. Tigers can't purr, so to show affection, they'll do the same slow blink that your cat does to tell you he loves you.
Yo, do you guys ever stare at your cat and do a slow blink at them? I stay doing it. I hope they understand.
Tigers share 95% of their DNA with domestic cats, which makes sense because they're basically house cats on steroids. They'll cuddle up to their favorite keepers, play hide and seek with them, and of course give them that famous love blink. Tigers are soft. A lot of animals get lonely during the winter because there's less visitors and they're used to seeing people. This usually happens with higher intelligence animals like elephants, primates, and parrots like the African gray. During COVID, one zoo brought painters into the monkey house just so the monkeys would feel less alone. One Japanese zoo asked people to FaceTime the eels just so they wouldn't forget about people. Top 3 dumbest things to ever happen at a zoo, and no, number 1 is not what you think it is. In 2009, a woman decided to take a flash pass to Jesus by jumping into the polar bear exhibit in a Berlin zoo. She proceeded to get mauled by 4 of the biggest carnivores on the planet.
What
At
an
one point,
idiot,
zookeepers were able to
dude.
pull her out of the pool, but
Dude,
of
I'm
course she fell
shocked she
back
lived.
in. She also did this during the polar bear's feeding time. Apparently,
What
she
an
lost her
idiot.
teaching job and was so depressed that she decided to factory reset her life in one of the worst ways possible. And zookeepers were actually seconds away from shooting the bears just to save her. Luckily, she and the polar bears lived. In
How?
2007 in San Francisco.
How? That's insane. It's not Harambe. Those are the nicest polar bears of all time. From what I understand, like polar bears are extremely vicious, dude. She got the rope, bro, but she was being bitten. Like, look, how do you live this? Like, how is that bear not chomping her head? I guess he was a nice guy.
Apparently, she lost her teaching job and was so depressed that she decided to factory reset her life in one of the worst ways possible. And zookeepers were actually seconds away from shooting the bears just to save her. Luckily, she and the polar bears lived. In 2007 in San Francisco, 3 dumbasses who will not be named decided to taunt Tatiana the Siberian tiger just to see what would happen. What happened was she decided to make the census 3 names lighter. Motivated by malice, Tatiana jumped over a nearly 13-foot wall and violated all 3, murking 1 and severely injuring the other 2. And what's true today was true back then. If you're young and dumb, you will get paid. And after getting sued, the zoo had to pay a $900,000 stupid tax to the brothers. Number 1 is
Really? Let me reread that. Let me see how salty I'm going to get. In 2007 in San Francisco, 3 dumb bleeps who will not be named decided to taunt. Ah, bro, I'm salty. They taunted her. She got revenge. She dies for it and they get paid.
Cisco,
That's
three
terrible.
dumbasses who will not be named decided to taunt Tatiana the Siberian tiger just to see what would happen. What happened was she decided to make the census 3 names lighter. Motivated by malice, Tatiana jumped over a nearly 13.
No, yeah, I get it. I get that the wall's too short, so like the zoo for that. But like if you're taunting an animal, I'm not gonna say you deserve it, but I'm also not gonna feel bad for you. With all due respect. And like apparently they lived, right? Well, murking one, so does murking mean dead? I never knew murking meant death. I don't think it does. So damn, that sucks, bro. You know what would really suck? If the two who lived weren't even the main ones taunting. That would suck.
Number 1 isn't actually this. Because in 2012, a mother lifted her son over a railing to get a better look at the animals.
We
He then dropped the
Harambeing?
2-year-old into the African wild dog
Oh,
exhibit.
God.
He survived the fall, but not the dogs. And if you know how African wild dogs hunt prey, you know this
Yeah,
was
bro,
very
I would
bad.
rather get Harambe. That's like the worst pit to get dropped in. Also, where are there even like African wild dogs in a zoo? Like that just seems weird to me.
On top of all that, the mother sued the Pittsburgh Zoo for negligence.
Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Pennsylvania's a terrible state, bro.
Obviously, the victim here is a little boy because nobody deserves that, but yeah, the railing's there for a fucking reason. 3 more of the dumbest things to ever happen at a zoo, and number 1 will make you feel some type of way.
Man.
In 20
Let me run that back. She dropped. Like, how low is the barrier? How tall is the mom? How the hell do you drop your 2-year-old into the African wild dog exhibit? I'm gonna be evil real quick. Like, what are the chances she didn't want the child and killed the child to get a payday? Like those 3 who taunted the tiger got a payday. That's why, like, you really shouldn't be paying people out for getting mauled in a zoo, respectfully. Because, like, you get idiots trying to do copycat shenanigans like this. And, like, is this extremely evil of me to say if the mom didn't actually mean to do this? Yes, of course. But, brother, how the hell do you drop a 2-year-old into the exhibit? Like, let's look at the guardrails. Hold on.
It's the African wild dog exhibit. He survived the fall.
I
but
guess we're
the
not
dog.
going to see
And
it.
if you know how
but
African
that's just SMH.
wild dogs hunt prey, you know this was very bad. On top of all that, the mother sued the Pittsburgh Zoo for negligence. Yeah. Obviously, the victim here is a little boy because nobody deserves that.
So
but,
true.
Yeah, the railing's there for a fucking reason. 3
So
more of
true.
the dumbest things to ever happen at a zoo, and number 1 will make you feel some type of way. In 2017, a man decided he didn't want to pay the price of admission to get into a zoo and instead scaled a 10-foot wall to get in. And best believe a price was paid. Because my man's ended up in the living room of 3 of the biggest big cats on the planet.
Brother.
The man was brutally mauled in front of horrified guests, and I like to think the last thing that went through his head, and then, you know, the tiger's teeth, was if it was really worth it.
See, do we really know his intention, though? Was he trying to break into the zoo, or was he committing S-word? You know what I mean? Like, some people commit S-word by cops, and some people, I guess, commit S-word by tigers. Like, you'd have to be really stupid to do that. He clearly knows where he's entering. I'd think, anyway.
Can't put a price on life, but this man gambled his entire way of being over $19. Also, one of the tigers died over his stupidity.
That's,
At number
see,
2,
that's
you probably
just, that's terrible.
know exactly.
Like, why are we killing the tiger for doing that? Like, because he has the taste of human? Is that the idea? Because, like, think about it. Some random dude just, like, rolls up into your zone and, like, maybe he's acting erratically.
where this is going. Another dumbass who will not be named was a regular at a Netherlands zoo, and she had a habit of smiling at the
Probably
gorillas.
trying to save the guy's life. Okay, that would make sense if they, like, killed him in the process. I was, like, thinking dog rules. Like, if a dog bites someone, they're like, oh, we gotta kill the dog now. I thought they were doing that. So that makes it more okay.
Making eye contact, even though trained zookeepers told her not to. She ignored them and said that she had a special bond with the gorillas since they always smiled back.
I know this
Basically,
story.
she pulled a, trust me, I know him, he'll listen to me. Remember what we
Pulled a Mikasa, no way.
talked about, this isn't you. Yeah, she played pick-me with a 400-pound gorilla, and one day Bakito woke up and chose Miralax because he wasn't taking no Bakito escaped, beat the woman like she stole something from him, and then broke into a restaurant. And number 1 in 1987 at Prospect Park Zoo.
Ooh, hold up. Hometown. What happened here? 1987?
A couple boys decided to climb into an exhibit and swim in a moat. Whose exhibit, you ask? Well, originally they planned on swimming in a sea lion pool, but somewhere along the line they decided they just didn't value their lives. They went into the polar bear den. What happened next?
Hold up. We do not have polar bears. Damn, bro. It was lit back then. 1987 went hard? That's crazy. Nowadays, for those unaware, let me put on my hat. In order to go to a good zoo in New York, you can't go to Prospect Park. You can't go to Central Park. Brother, you got to go to the Bronx. Bronx. No one wants to go to the Bronx. You're telling me we had polar bears, but since we had idiots, we lost them? That's terrible.
Murder bears proceeded to play tug-of-war with the 11-year-old's body. Police
That's
came and
also
shot the bears,
terrible.
but the boy was
But
already
then-
past tense. Did I mention this was all because of a dare? It was a tragic, senseless, avoidable death that never should have happened. May those polar bears rest in peace. As for the boy, he could rest in
Salute
pieces.
to the polar bears. Damn, bro. I'm actually salty. I could have been chilling looking at polar bears in my hometown. Who would have thought? W video. Glad I'm not a zookeeper.